my soul was up for sale, but I ain't never sold that. The truth ain't in the crew you claim, if you was ever told that. She was a demon.
All right, what's up, everybody? Today the video is gonna be honestly short and sweet because this is just like a testimonial type thing, but at the same time, it's not. I don't want to call it a testimonial, but it could be categorized as one. So we're just gonna run through it. Excuse me. So I'm gonna be talking to you guys about the things that I gave up to follow Christ, and it's not really an extensive long list. I think it's like 4 or 5 things, but when I gave these things up, when I stopped doing these things, it honestly, my relationship got way better. It was like nothing was holding me back. There was nothing else for me to run to because I was only running to Christ for all my problems. So I'm not gonna talk your head off for too long. Let's get into it. All right, so the first thing that I honestly had to stop doing when I gave my life to Christ was smoking and drinking. Now, this is an obvious thing because, the Bible calls us to be sober and be vigilant because the devil, our adversary, creeps around like a roaring lion seeking to devour whom he may destroy. But it really hits when you're hooked on it, because a lot of people say, well, you can't get addicted to weed, you can't get addicted to this, but it's heavily relying on something is the same thing as being addicted to it. And I heard this story one time and they were like, I think it was a pastor, it was like, whatever you run to, that's your God. Because when you get anxious or when you get depressed, when you feel some type of way, what do? Smokers, any previous smokers or smokers are watching this video, we run to the marijuana. And that's just the truth. But yeah, I had to give up smoking and drinking because I was running to it. Honestly, I was making it my God. And I didn't notice until I asked for the gift of discernment. And I discerned a lot of stuff about myself. And that's the point of me making this video. So smoking and drinking gotta go. I'm gonna tell you like that. Smoking and drinking is not something that you can continue to do as a Christian. Like it gets to the point where you might, because I had this realization or this I don't want to say tendency, but I had this thing where I'd say, well, God, I'm just going to, smoke a little bit and then I'm going to go read my Bible. And it worked for maybe once or twice. And then I realized that I was trying to make excuses to keep the weed around. And there's no excuse. Be sober, be vigilant. Because every time I was smoking, there was not voices, but there were points in while I was high or whatever, where I wanted to sin. Like thoughts that I didn't have while I was sober, I was having. So we got to give it up, man. I had to give it up. And if you find a way around it, kudos to you, but I had to give it up. All right. Honestly, the second thing was partying. Like partying isn't really one of those things that I consider like, oh, you're going to hell if you party. But I realized that you are who you hang around. So when you're going out to parties and you're saying, well, I'm not going to drink, I'm not going to smoke, I'm just going to, I'm going to stay away from that stuff, I'm just going to have fun. You're at the party, you're listening to secular music because that's most likely what they're playing. There are people around you who are drunk and drinking, and it looks fun from the outside, but your minds want to race and tell you that you want to do that. And then sometimes you might slip up. So the best thing I can say is don't put yourself in a position to be able to slip up or to want to slip up, if that makes any sense. Like, just stay away from it. Because if you don't go, then you won't have the temptation. You can't tempt yourself if you're not put in this situation. But yeah, I went out to parties and I was like, I'm just not going to do anything. I'm just going to, I'm a wall sit. I'm just going to be with my friends. I don't want to seem like a lame person, so I'll go. Next thing you know, I got shots in my hand. I'm downing them. I'm partying. I'm dancing with all these different females. It's like, I knew it was wrong. But I'm not gonna say I couldn't control myself, but my flesh took over because I fed it. I fed my flesh with the marijuana and with the drinking. So don't place any opportunities for your flesh to take over or for your flesh to want to flourish. So yeah, partying gotta go. I know I keep saying that all these were the worst ones, but this was the toughest battle I had to get past, because once you're stuck on something for so long, it becomes like engraved in your mind. And for me, it was secular music, because listening to whatever I wanted to listen to Like music was literally a part of me. Every time I felt some type of way, I would run to music. And the same way that I said I was running to weed, like turning into a god, I was doing the same thing with my music. Like every time I felt sad, because my favorite artist was YoungBoy. Every time I felt sad, I'll turn on some sad YoungBoy, and I'll feel sadder. I'll smoke and listen to the music, and I'll feel worse. Or I thought I was feeling better, but I was making myself feel worse. And when I feel happy, what I do, I turn on something that makes me want to dance around like a fool. It got to a point where there was this one song that came out. I know most of y'all know it. It was like he was like 30 days straight. It's called "Be Let's Do It," bro. When I tell you, every single day that song was played at least 70 times. I'm talking about waking up. That's my ringtone. That's my alarm tone. I'm waking up to it. I'm playing it in the car, playing it in the shower, playing it while I'm at work. I'm just hooked on it. And it felt like whenever the song came on, I couldn't control myself. Like my body would just start dancing and moving like a fool out of nowhere. I couldn't control myself. So God was like, yeah, you got to get rid of that. You can't do that no more. If you're trying to follow me, you can't listen to that bull crap no more. And you know what he did? He sent me Christian artists, and like ever since then, I be listening to Christian R&B and Christian rap like it ain't nothing. Like I got some songs on this playlist that, man, it'll make you feel like you back in the streets, but they talking about God, and that's why I love it so much. So we got to get rid of that secular music, because your ears, be careful of the ears what you hear. Yeah, y'all ain't listening. Y'all must ain't heard them, because when you listen to that R&B, that humpy music, you know what I'm talking about. When you listen to that humpy music, what you feel? That lust spirit coming back. When you watching them shows with the kissing scenes and all the sex scenes in it, what you doing? Be careful of the eyes what you see. You're not being careful, and then that lust spirit come to grab you. So we got to be careful on the stuff that we watching and the stuff that we hearing. All right, I know I said the music hit me hard, but bro, the getting rid of my hair hit me even harder. Now, this isn't a step that I would say that everybody has to go through. Everybody has to do. This is something I had to go through personally, because for so long I was letting my hair define me. And when I was growing up, everyone always told me, yeah, locks symbolize or a thug or a person that's in the streets. And I was just like, I mean, I just wanted my hair. I just wanted dread. But when I grew up and started to make my own decisions about my hair, when I locked up, my life changed. I became a different person. I wasn't churchy, quote unquote. I started doing what I wanted to do. I started being in the streets. I started smoking. I started drinking. I started doing all the sexual stuff. And I feel like all that energy was just in my hair, if that makes any sense. Not on a spiritual type thing, but I feel like all that energy was in my hair. So when I cut my hair off, it was like, okay, I'm stepping into something new. I'm not the same person I was anymore. It's time to start over. It was symbolizing a fresh start. So God, I'm a provider, and I know y'all see the waves coming in. So I'm probably gonna keep this for a minute. Bruh, the big chop was crazy, cause like I felt so relieved. Like I'm not the same person that I was 5-6 months ago. I'm not the same person I was 2 weeks ago. I'm growing day by day. So the big chop was definitely worth it. All right, the last thing on my list, honestly, is the one that hit me like a freight train. Because you know, once you get to the certain point in a friendship, it's like y'all aren't friends anymore. It's like y'all brothers or y'all sisters. Y'all get so close that friends become family. And my friends had already become family, like I want to say 3 years in. But when I found these friends, we were all doing what we want. Well, I was doing what I wanted to do, and they were just living their lives. Everybody was just living their lives. So when I made the decision to put everything down and pick up my cross and start to follow Jesus, I got some looks. And when I got these looks, it kind of, I'm not gonna say no, it frustrated me. I was frustrated, but I couldn't respond with anger. I had to respond with, I had to respond with a soft tongue. So, you know, I'd be in the group chat or whatever. Everybody be talking about girls. Everybody be talking about going to this party and doing this. And out of nowhere, I start talking about God. And I start talking about God. They'll look at me like I just walked out a pit of fire or something. And I'm like, I'm trying to explain to y'all like why my life has been going so good, or how I've been doing so good, or how I've been doing so well, and they didn't want to listen or understand. So going into the season of isolation was the hardest part. Not having the same friends that were there for me since the beginning when I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. It was like I felt alone, but at the same time I knew that Jesus was with me. So I had to be in my Bible 24/7, because if I wasn't, I was probably gonna be crying somewhere in the corner. But yeah, giving up my friendships with unbelievers or people who didn't want to hear the gospel. I just planted my seeds, and I'm praying that God does the watering, because you're not supposed to force religion on anybody, because if you force something on them, that pushes them further away. All you can do is just tell them about his love and keep it going. So you are who you hang around. In conclusion, you are who you hang around. So make friends with believers, people who will edify you. Because if you continue to be friends with people who are in the world and of the world, then you're no better than them.